The Detroit Pistons are absolutely surging, and I know I made a video on them recently. I've made a couple videos on them already this year. They absolutely deserve another video. This has been beautiful basketball to watch lately. A very impressive win tonight against a very good, healthy New York Knicks team in a game where Cade Cunningham goes for 36 points efficiently, 14 of 27, 4 of 8 from 3, and they get well-balanced contributions from guys like Asar Thompson, who was really good defensively. Even though Jalen Brunson had 31 points, Asar made him work, 1 of 7 from 3 as well. I mean, Tobias Harris wasn't great, but he's a veteran contributor, and yes, he wasn't great tonight, but he's been good for them. Tim Hardaway Jr., y'all know my stance on THJ. I don't love the player, but he was okay. And then Malik Beasley was awesome off the bench tonight, 22 points in 18 minutes on 7 of 13, 6 of 8 from 3, including 2 huge threes down the stretch of the game to kind of put it away. Isaiah Stewart only scored 7 points, 4 rebounds, but he was a plus 14. Definitely gave Cat some problems in his minutes on Cat. Overall, got a nice, well-rounded performance from a lot of different guys, and it was another huge win in MSG against a contending Knicks team. It's one of those wins that again goes, yeah, the Pistons are for real. This is a very, very good basketball team, and I want to talk about them again because this was an awesome win, and they just deserved to be talked about because the transformation that this team has made from this season to last. At this point in the season last year, 40 games, and I think they were 4 and 36, maybe 3 and 37, one of the two. They are 21 and 19. They started the season 10 and 17. They have, or was it 11 and 17? Either way, they started the season 11 and 17. That means in their last 12 games, they are 10 and 2. They are playing really high level basketball across the board with some good wins mixed in there. Like, yes, there's some pretty easy wins mixed in there as well, but wins over teams like Phoenix, LA, Orlando, Minnesota, Golden State. Well, they lost to Golden State, I'm sorry. And then New York tonight as well. Some good wins mixed in there, in addition to taking care of business against teams they should be beating. It's been really impressive to watch as of late, and their ability to do so in the second half of this stretch as well without Jaden Ivey, I think has been a big positive as well, because obviously he's going to be out here for another several weeks, and yet it doesn't seem to be slowing them down at all. They're still playing great basketball and have a stretch coming up here with a lot of tough matchups. An Indiana team that's playing well, Houston, Orlando, Cleveland, Indiana again, Dallas, who at this point should have Kyrie back, and maybe Luka, probably not, but possibly. Atlanta's been pretty good again. Cleveland, I mean, their schedule definitely gets tougher here for the next couple weeks. So them playing well right now is a big step, and I think these next couple weeks are really going to be a great tell to see, is this team for real? Like, are they a serious like playoff contender? Not just playoff contender, because they're probably going to make the playoffs, but like, can they contend for a top 6 seed? Can they contend to try to win a first round series and upset a team? That's what these next couple weeks are going to kind of inform us. But as of late, the growth that this team has shown compared to last year is just monumental, and I just can't give them enough credit for it. I mean, they are now the 8th seed in the East. Miami's kind of falling apart in a lot of ways, although I guess they've won 3 games in a row after really struggling in Jimmy's first game gone. So I don't expect that to last, though. In all honesty, I think they will wind up trading Jimmy. I don't know. Maybe they're still a playoff team. Atlanta's been kind of struggling as of late after a good stretch, but it looks like we pretty much have our top 9 in these top 9 seeds, and Detroit feels like a very viable team that they fit in the back area of this group with teams like Miami and Atlanta. And look, that's not a contending team, but it is a massive improvement from where they were last season, like night and day, from a team that just seemed apathetic last year with a coach who did not care in Monty Williams, and one of the worst teams in all honesty in NBA history in a lot of ways. And this year has just been such a massive turnaround. Even if they lose in the first round, even if they go out meekly, this is going to be such an exciting year, and has been such an exciting year for Pistons fans, because it shows so much growth and so much potential for the future. And you look at the numbers in their last few games to start the season up until December 20th. They were 18th in defensive rating at 113.6. So not horrible, but not great. Offensive rating, though, was really pretty bad. 23rd in the league, which put their net rating at a minus 3.3, which was bottom 9 in basketball, at that negative 3.3. So again, they were, while not atrociously awful, not a good basketball team. They were clearly one of the worst teams in the league. Maybe not worst teams. They weren't in the tanking category, but they weren't super far in front of it either. Since then, in the past 12 games, this team has a net rating that is 8th in the league at 4.8, Defensive rating wise, it's been a slight improvement. They're up to 16th in the league, or sorry, 15th in the league, which is definitely it's a small improvement from 18th. They're about a point per 100 possessions better. But offensive rating is where they've seen this massive jump. They're up to 117 from 110. Just an impressive turnaround offensively as of late, and it can coincide with Cade Cunningham really emerging. I mean, he's had a great year across the board this year, but especially lately he's been playing like a legitimate superstar, and I feel like they've gotten some really contributions from a lot of other important pieces as well. It hasn't just been Cade, but Cade is absolutely having the best year of his career. He's up to 24, almost 10, and 6.7 rebounds per game. His turnovers are still too high at 4.4, but they've gone down a decent chunk lately. He's definitely done a better job of protecting the ball recently. Still would like him to be a little more efficient around the rim at his size at times, but he does draw a lot of defensive attention, so I don't think it's a massive deal. Tobias Harris, look, hasn't been perfect, but he is a good veteran. He is a good leader. He's shooting 35% from three. He could certainly be a lot worse, averaging 6.5 rebounds a game. Jaden Ivey, again, hasn't played their last several games, but should be back, I would think, sometime in February, and has shot 40%, almost 41% from three this year. Has been a really good co-star. Malik Beasley has truly embraced the city of Detroit and has just been awesome. He's on a one-year contract right now. I'm sure they'd love to re-sign him after this year if he continues to play anything like this, averaging 16 a game. 40% from three, has been a microwave option off the bench. Tim Hardaway Jr., for all my criticisms of him as a player, he's 39% from three this year. Like, he's having a good offensive year now. I think he's almost a non-factor defensively, and that can be a frustrating thing about his game, but still, he's been not horrible. Jalen Duren, very efficient inside, pretty good rebounder, kind of a double-double guy, but nothing too impressive. But I feel like he's a solid player. And then Isaiah Stewart is a really good, feisty defensive player as their backup big. Has shot really poorly from three this year, but as a whole is still a very useful player who's, I think, intensity and passion rubs off on his teammates and is still very valuable. Fontecchio is a high-level 3-and-D guy who might be who's a little underrated, I think, league-wide, and may just be a bench piece, but I think he's a useful one. Asar Thompson is really showing me some signs of potential, maybe not star power, but talent. He's not playing quite as good as his brother to this point in his career, but I do think there's some real insane athletic ability and high-level defensive instincts and things of that nature from Asar Thompson. He had some really good performances down the stretch, or some good moments down the stretch of tonight's game on the defensive end of the court, finding a way to make an impact. And if his shot comes around, he's going to be a star. Ron Holland, same story, honestly. Very athletic, high effort, high grit, high intensity guy. If the shot comes around, going to be a really good player. I actually like Marcus Sasser as a bench guard as well. Like, this team 1 through 10 or so is pretty solid. And I mean, B-Ball Paul even not too bad as like a third string big. And if they were to, for example, make a trade and maybe swap Isaiah Stewart and a couple of guys to try to upgrade this roster, B-Ball Paul, I would feel confident in coming in and being a solid backup center for this team. So overall, there's a lot to like about this team. And I really do have pretty high hopes in their abilities to be good for a long time, because they're young, they're talented, they're adding some veteran leadership. Cade is truly blossoming into a superstar, and things are just coming together for this Detroit team. And yeah, while they're playing great right now, I don't expect them to be a top 10 team in the league for the rest of the season. I don't expect them to win a playoff series, but making the playoffs would be a huge step forward. And the growth that they've already shown has been a massive step forward and sets them up for an exciting future in Detroit, which a year ago didn't look like that was in the rear, even close to in the near future. So the amount of growth this team has shown in a year has been magnificent. And I think if I was a Detroit fan, I would be absolutely thrilled with the growth this team has shown. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very soon. And I appreciate y'all. Peace.